If you do not know what you want, the world will decide for you. And the world is merciless. It will not shape you into a hero, a conqueror, or a creator. It will mold you into an instrument for someone else's ambition. It will chain you to a wheel that turns endlessly, grinding away the bones of those who dared not declare their own desires. Do not deceive yourself. Neutrality is a myth. To drift is to surrender. To hesitate is to submit. There is no middle ground between the master and the servant, between the one who carves destiny and the one who is carved by it. The moment you let another dictate your purpose, you become a pawn in their grand design. And pawns are sacrificed. The world is filled with hands reaching to shape you. Society, family, friends, each with their expectations, their demands, their quiet insistence that you fit within the lines they have drawn. They do not do this out of malice, but out of fear. Fear that your defiance will expose their own cowardice. A man who dares to dream is a dangerous man. He reminds the obedient of the freedom they abandoned. And so they will press upon you their limitations, disguised as advice, as care, as wisdom. But there is no wisdom in submission, no greatness in compromise. If you do not define your dream, your life will become a shadow of another's will, a dim reflection of what could have been. And in the end, when the years have been spent, when the weight of unlived potential presses down upon you, no excuse will be enough. It will not be the world that betrayed you, nor your family, nor your friends. It will be you, because you let them do it. So carve your dream into the fabric of existence with the sharpest edge of your will. Declare it with a voice that does not beg for approval. Stand against the tide that seeks to wash you into oblivion. And when they call you mad, reckless, delusional, know that you are finally on the right path. Most people live in fear, and they will project it onto you. Fear governs this world more than power, more than logic, more than love. It slithers into every mind, wraps itself around every decision, and suffocates every ambition before it can take its first breath. Most people do not live, they endure, trapped in invisible chains forged by their own trembling hands. They do not chase dreams, they negotiate with fate, pleading for the safest path, the path that asks the least of them, the path that ensures they remain unseen, untouched, and unbroken, because to break is to change, and change terrifies them more than failure itself. But their fear is not content to stay within them. It spreads like a disease, reaching for you, whispering in your ear with voices you recognize. Friends, family, mentors, society itself. They will speak with conviction, with urgency, with the authority of those who have already surrendered. They will not say, "Do not try," because even they know that sounds weak. Instead, they will say, "Be careful." They will call it prudence, wisdom, responsibility. They will wrap their own fear in golden words and place it in your hands like a gift. But it is not a gift. It is a poison. And the cruelest part, they do not even know they are doing it. They are blind to their own chains and will fight anyone who dares to break free, not out of hatred, but out of terror. Because if you escape, if you succeed, if you rise above, then their excuses crumble. Your courage exposes their cowardice. Your strength reminds them of the weakness they refuse to confront. And so they will lash out, not with fists, but with doubt. Not with force, but with concern. Not with shackles, but with love. Do not drink from their cup. Do not let their fear become your own. A mind ruled by fear is already defeated. A life dictated by caution is already wasted. There is only one path, the path forward, through fire, through failure, through the howling voices that beg you to turn back. Walk it without hesitation. And when they tell you it is dangerous, smile, because that means you are finally alive. Beware of those who say it's impossible. The impossible exists only in their minds. Nothing in this world is impossible except for the limits a man carves into his own mind. And yet, everywhere you turn, there will be voices telling you otherwise. Voices worn down by failure, by fear, by the unbearable weight of their own mediocrity. They will stand before you, eyes dim with resignation, and declare with absolute certainty, it cannot be done. Not because they have tried and failed, but because they never dared to try at all. They will disguise their weakness as wisdom. They will tell you they have seen others fall. They will list names of those who dared to rise and were crushed under the weight of their own ambition. They will speak of logic, of caution, of the boundaries of reality, as if reality has ever been anything but a canvas for those bold enough to paint over it. But know this, when they say impossible, they do not speak of the world. They speak of themselves. They reveal, in those few cowardly words, the bars of the cage they have built around their own potential. What they fear most is not your failure. It is your success. Because if you do what they said could not be done, if you step beyond the limits they so readily accepted, then what excuse do they have left? What justification remains for the smallness of their existence? Your triumph would be their greatest torment, a mirror reflecting what they could have been if only they had possessed the strength to defy. And so, they will do everything in their power to stop you before you begin. Not with force, but with doubt. Not with chains, but with whispered poison. It's too difficult. You don't have what it takes. No one has ever done this before. Do not listen. The world was not built by those who believed in limitations. It was built by those who shattered them. Every monument, every discovery, every revolution was once declared impossible by small men with small minds. And yet here they stand, as proof that impossibility is nothing more than a lie whispered by the weak to soothe their own surrender. If you must listen to a voice, let it be the one within you that refuses to kneel. Let it be the fire that burns in your gut when you hear the word impossible. Let it be the defiance that rises in your chest when they tell you to stop. Because on the other side of that word lies everything you have ever dreamed of. Walk forward. Break their illusions. And when they look upon you with awe, when they tremble before what you have achieved, remember, the only thing that was ever impossible was their belief that you would fail. If someone mocks your dream, they are already your enemy. A man's dream is the most sacred thing he possesses. It is the fire in his chest, the voice in the dark that refuses to be silenced, the force that separates him from the masses who drift through life without purpose. To dream is to declare war on mediocrity, to defy the suffocating weight of the ordinary. And yet, there will always be those who laugh when you speak of what you seek to build. They will sneer, they will roll their eyes, they will cast glances filled with amused contempt. Do not mistake their laughter for innocence. It is a blade, drawn in hostility, an attempt to kill what has barely begun to live. A man who mocks your dream is not neutral. He is not a friend testing your resolve. He is not a bystander making idle conversation. He is an enemy because he has made himself one. To mock another's dream is to spit upon creation itself, to declare that nothing beyond the known should ever be pursued, but no mountain should ever be climbed, but no mind should dare to reach beyond the limits imposed upon it. It is a coward's battle cry, a desperate attempt to drag you back into the pit of his own unfulfilled existence. For what kind of man laughs at the ambitions of another? A man who has no ambitions of his own. A man whose dreams have long since withered into dust, who has abandoned his own potential and now seeks to see yours collapse as well. He does not hate your dream because it is foolish. He hates it because it reminds him of what he has lost. He sees in you the version of himself that he was too weak to become. And so he lashes out the only way he knows how, with ridicule, with scorn, with a sharp-edged mockery of a soul that has already surrendered. Do not argue with him. Do not defend yourself. Let him laugh, but understand that his laughter is not the sound of truth, but the death rattle of his own wasted years. A man who believes in his own greatness does not mock the dreams of others. He recognizes them, respects them, even in silence. He knows that the path of creation is paved with struggle, and he would rather walk beside those who build than tear them down from the shadows. You must choose, then, who deserves to stand beside you. The ones who mock, or the ones who create. The ones who laugh, or the ones who rise. If you are to build something great, you must accept a simple truth. Those who laugh at you today will be silent when you succeed. And on that day, when they watch you from below, eyes filled with the bitterness of what could have been, their mockery will no longer matter. It never did. Do not trust those who give advice but have achieved nothing. The world is overflowing with voices. Men who have built nothing, conquered nothing, risked nothing, yet they speak as if their words carry the weight of kings. They will tell you how to live, how to think, how to act. They will weave their words with certainty, with authority, as if the mere act of speaking grants them dominion over truth. But beneath their advice, there is nothing. No victories, no scars, no proof that they have walked the path they demand you follow. And yet, they expect you to listen. This is the great plague of the weak. They seek to shape the strong. The failed man wishes to instruct the one who dares. The coward believes himself fit to guide the brave. The one who has never fought believes he understands battle. Beware such men. They are not mentors, but parasites. They do not build, they feed. They do not rise. They cling to those who do, hoping that their words alone will grant them the power they never had the courage to claim. Advice from the unproven is not wisdom. It is poison. A man who has never suffered cannot teach you endurance. A man who has never bled cannot show you how to survive. A man who has never stood alone against the world cannot guide you through the storm. Their words may be clever, their arguments persuasive, but their experience is absent, and so their wisdom is hollow. To follow them is to walk in circles, mistaking movement for progress, mistaking empty words for knowledge. Look instead to those who have lived what they preach. To those whose hands bear the calluses of creation, whose bodies bear the wounds of struggle, whose eyes hold the fire of one who has faced the abyss and did not turn back. Their words are not given lightly, because they have paid for them in pain, in failure, in nights filled with doubt and mornings filled with defiance. When such a man speaks, listen. His voice is not borrowed, it is earned. And if you find yourself surrounded by those who instruct but have achieved nothing, leave them behind. Let them lecture the air, let them advise the walls, let them drown in their own empty wisdom. Walk away and build. Walk away and conquer. Walk away and let your victories become the only argument that matters. Your dream will die if you surround yourself with complainers. Nothing great has ever been built in the company of the weak-willed. A dream is a fragile thing in its infancy, requiring strength, fire, and unyielding belief to grow. But place it among those who complain, those who lament, those who see only obstacles and never possibilities, and it will wither before it ever has the chance to rise. Complainers are not merely harmless voices in the background. They are thieves. They steal energy, time, vision. They take without giving, pulling everything into the same abyss of doubt where they themselves have long since been swallowed. They do not seek solutions, for they thrive on problems. They do not wish to rise, for they find comfort in despair. And most of all, they do not want you to succeed, because your success would be a mirror, reflecting back everything they chose not to be. Their words are venom. They will whisper that the world is unfair, that the system is rigged, that only the lucky ever make it. They will tell you that trying is pointless, that the odds are against you, that no matter what you do, failure is inevitable. They will call this realism. But realism, in their hands, is only an excuse to remain powerless. They are not warning you, they are poisoning you. And the danger is this: they do not need to break you in one blow. They only need to wear you down. 1,000 quiet complaints, 1,000 small sighs, 1,000 tiny seeds of doubt, planted day after day, until you wake up and realize that their words have become your own, that you have become like them, that your dream, once burning with fire, has been reduced to the same cold embers that smolder in their eyes. There is only one cure: leave them behind. Do not argue, do not convince, do not waste your breath trying to wake the dead. They have made their choice. Make yours. Surround yourself with those who move forward, not those who stand still and weep for the road behind them. Walk with those who burn with purpose, with hunger, with a relentless will to carve their place in the world. And when the complainers call you ruthless, heartless, delusional, smile, for it means you are free. Toxic criticism is the weapon of the weak. If they offer no constructive advice, they seek to break you. There is a kind of man who does not build, does not create, does not strive. He lurks in the shadows of great endeavors, never daring to step forward himself, yet always ready to cast stones at those who do. He has nothing to offer but his voice, and his voice is poison. His criticism does not sharpen, it dulls. It does not guide, it destroys. It is not meant to make you better, only to make you stop. To such a man, the act of tearing down is the closest thing he will ever have to achievement. He has never carved a path of his own, so he sneers at those who try. He has never endured hardship, so he mocks those who struggle. He has never conquered doubt, so he feeds it in others. He calls this honesty. He calls this realism. But in truth, it is only the bitterness of one who has been defeated by life and now seeks to pull others down into the same abyss. The critic who offers no path forward is not your teacher. He is not your friend. He is an enemy of creation itself, a parasite who feeds on the efforts of those braver than himself. A true critique is a weapon placed in your hands, a tool for sharpening, for strengthening, for seeing what you could not see before. But an empty critique, one that offers no solution, no guidance, no substance, that is not a weapon given to you. It is a dagger pressed against your throat. And the greatest danger? The words of such men do not need to be true to be deadly. They only need to be repeated often enough. Doubt does not break a man all at once. It erodes him, piece by piece, like a river wearing down a mountain. And so, the critic will persist. He will laugh at your first attempt. He will call your efforts foolish. He will find fault in every step you take, not because there is fault to find, but because if you rise, you prove him wrong. And that, above all else, he cannot allow. There is only one response to such men: indifference. Let them shout, let them sneer, let them drown in the sound of their own emptiness. Do not answer. Do not justify. Do not give them the satisfaction of knowing you even heard them. They are not worth the breath it would take to silence them. And when you succeed, when you stand where they swore you would never reach, do not look back. Do not seek their approval. Let them rot in their own irrelevance, while you build what they could only dream of. Listen only to those who have walked this path before you. The world is filled with voices, loud, insistent, demanding to be heard. They speak with confidence, with certainty, as if knowledge can be plucked from thin air, as if experience is unnecessary when one has an opinion. But words alone are weightless. They do not carry the scars of battle, the exhaustion of struggle, the triumph of one who has endured. And yet, these hollow voices will tell you what to do, how to live, which path to take. Beware them. They are not guiding you forward, they are leading you nowhere. A man who has not walked the path cannot show you the way. He may describe it, he may speculate, he may spin theories about what awaits at the summit, but he has never felt the sharp rocks beneath his feet, never faced the storms that will try to break you, never stood at the edge of the abyss and chosen to go forward when all logic said to turn back. His words may sound wise, but they are empty, devoid of the weight that only experience can give. To listen to him is to trust a map drawn by a blind man. But there are others. Those who have bled, who have lost, who have fought and risen again. Their words are not elegant theories. They are forged in suffering, in failure, in victories wrestled from the jaws of defeat. When they speak, they do not guess. They know. They do not offer illusions of an easy road. They speak of hardship, of the cost, of the pain. And because they have paid that price, they have earned the right to tell you how it must be done. Listen to them. Seek them out, even if their words are harsh, even if they demand of you more than you think you can give. They will not flatter you. They will not soothe your fears with comforting lies. They will push you further than you imagine possible, because they understand what you do not yet grasp, that greatness is not given, but taken, that dreams are not wished into existence, but built through struggle. And if you cannot find such a voice, if there is no one to guide you, then there is only one choice left: become that voice. Walk the path yourself. Face what must be faced. Earn the wisdom through your own blood, your own battles, your own victories. And one day, when another stands where you stand now, lost and uncertain, it will be your voice that carries weight. Your experience that shows the way. Your scars that tell the truth. Those who do not risk cannot understand those who move forward. The world is divided, not by wealth, not by race, not by status, but by something far deeper, more primal: the willingness to risk. It is a division that cannot be bridged by words alone. For a man who never risks will never understand the man who dares to step beyond the safety of the known. He will never understand the fire that drives him, the hunger that pushes him, the unseen forces that propel him forward despite the uncertainty, despite the odds. You see, risk is not simply an action. It is a philosophy. It is a belief in something greater than comfort, greater than security, greater than the oppressive weight of predictability. To risk is to acknowledge that life itself is fleeting and precious, and that the greatest tragedy is not failing, but never daring to begin. To those who never risk, the one who moves forward is nothing more than a fool, a madman chasing illusions. But they are blind, because they see only the surface, the outward appearance of the journey, and not the fire that fuels it. The man who risks does not do so for the thrill. He does not gamble with his life for entertainment. No, he risks because he knows something the others do not. He knows that to remain in the same place, to refuse to venture into the unknown, is to surrender to stagnation, to death in slow motion. He knows that growth, true growth, can only happen when you stand on the precipice, staring into the abyss, and choose to leap anyway. And the one who has never taken that leap, who has never felt the terror of the unknown or the exhilaration of possibility, cannot understand this. He may call it foolishness. He may label it arrogance. But deep down, he is only jealous. Jealous of the courage it takes to leave the shore behind, to step into the vast, uncharted waters of ambition, of creation, of life itself. He will tell you it is safer to stay, to play it safe, to live quietly and without risk. But he speaks from a place of fear, from a place of comfort, from a place where life has long since become a pale imitation of its potential. Do not listen to such men. Their voices are the voices of the dead, those who have never lived, never dared, never pushed the boundaries of their own existence. They do not know what it means to move forward, to chase greatness, to live a life worth remembering. They are prisoners of their own limitations, and their only aim is to keep you imprisoned with them. Instead, listen to the risk-taker, the dreamer, the one who moves forward even when the path is unclear, even when the cost is high. For he understands something you may not yet, that to live fully is to embrace risk, to flirt with danger, to carve your own path through the wilderness of the unknown. And when you take that leap, when you push forward beyond your fear, you will see the world differently. You will see it as a place of endless possibilities, a place where only those who dare can truly live. You will be judged for your dream. Accept it as part of the journey. There is a price for greatness, and it is not paid in coin, nor in comfort. It is paid in judgment. The moment you step beyond the limits of the ordinary, the moment you dare to chase a dream that others cannot see, you will become a target. The voices of the world will rise against you, lashing out from the shadows, throwing stones of doubt, disbelief, and scorn. They will mock you. They will call you naive, delusional, foolish. They will demand you explain yourself, justify your ambitions, prove that your dream is worth the sacrifice. But understand this is not a mistake. This is not some cruel misfortune that has befallen you. It is part of the path. It is a sign that you are moving in the right direction. Only those who tread the unknown, only those who break free from the prison of the expected, will face the wrath of the small-minded, the fearful, the comfort seekers. They will not understand, for they are trapped in their own mediocrity, unable to see beyond the horizon of what is safe and familiar. What they cannot see, what they cannot comprehend, is the fire that burns inside you. They cannot feel the pulse of ambition, the force that drives you to reach for something greater than yourself. They cannot taste the hunger that gnaws at your soul, urging you to rise above the ordinary, to transcend the limitations of the world as it is. Your dream terrifies them, for it reminds them of their own failure to dream, their own surrender to the mundane. And so they will attack. They will judge. They will criticize. But do not mistake their judgments for truth. They are merely the cries of the defeated, the echoes of those who have surrendered to fear, to comfort, to the easy path. They are not your peers, and their opinions are irrelevant. Embrace their judgment as a sign that you are walking the path of the few, that you are daring to do what most are too afraid to even dream. Let their scorn fuel you. Let it remind you that you are not like them. You are not bound by their limitations, nor by their narrow understanding of what is possible. You are forging a new reality, one step at a time, and they cannot stop you. Accept the judgment, for it is proof that you are moving forward. Let it wash over you like the storm that it is, knowing that storms pass, but the mountains remain. And when you stand at the summit, when your dream becomes reality, you will see that the judgment of others was nothing but the wind, temporary, fleeting, powerless against the strength of your vision. Do not fear losing those who do not believe in you. Fear losing yourself for them. In this life, there are two kinds of loss: the loss that others impose upon you, and the loss that you willingly accept in the name of appeasing others. The former is inevitable. a mere consequence of stepping into the world with fire in your eyes and purpose in your heart. The latter, however, is a slow, quiet death, a surrender to the pressures of those too afraid to rise, too afraid to dream. It is the loss of your very soul in exchange for temporary comfort, for approval, for the false sense of belonging. Understand this: no one will walk your path for you. No one will bear the weight of your dreams but you. And if you bend yourself, break yourself, drown yourself in the expectations and beliefs of those who do not have the courage to believe in what you can become, then you will lose something far more precious than their approval. You will lose yourself. It is easy to surround yourself with those who call you realistic, who tell you that your dreams are too big, too wild, too impossible. It is easy to listen to the voices that urge you to play it safe, to fit in, to conform. But ask yourself, what is the cost? What is the price of silencing your soul, of burying your passion, of casting aside your vision just to make others feel comfortable? What price will you pay to live a life that is not your own, to become someone you were never meant to be, all for the sake of keeping peace with those who never dared to be more than ordinary? The truth is, if you allow yourself to be shackled by the doubts of others, if you sacrifice your own truth to placate their fears, then you will have lost far more than the people who cannot see your vision. You will have lost your fire. You will have lost your reason for existing. Do not fear losing the doubters. Do not fear losing those who cannot see your potential, who mock your ambitions, who tell you that your dreams are nothing more than fantasy. These people are not the ones who will walk with you to greatness. These are the anchors that will drag you down to mediocrity. Their opinions are their own, shaped by their own limits, and they are not yours to carry. Instead, fear only the loss of your true self, the self that dares to dream, to risk, to reach for what others can only imagine. Fear the day you look in the mirror and no longer recognize the person staring back at you because you became someone else's version of what you should be. For in the end, when your time has passed, it will not be the doubters who mourn you. It will not be those who never believed in you. It will be you who stands at the edge of your life and wonders what might have been, had you only trusted yourself, had you only walked the path that burned in your soul. Envy always hides beneath the mask of care. Learn to see it. The world is full of masks. Masks of kindness, masks of concern, masks that make you feel warm, safe, and accepted. But behind these masks, a darkness lurks, subtle and insidious, wearing the most convincing of disguises: care. You have likely encountered it many times, this false concern, this pretended interest in your life, your dreams, your ambitions. It comes from those who claim to want the best for you, those who appear to wish nothing but your success. But beneath their words lies a far more toxic reality: envy. You see, envy is a master of deception. It wears the robe of care because it knows that you, in your pursuit of truth and greatness, are vulnerable. It whispers in your ear with a tone of sweetness, of friendly advice, of caution. It tells you to be careful, to slow down, to think twice before moving forward. But in truth, what it seeks is not your welfare, not your protection. It seeks to halt your progress, to bind you to the ground, to keep you from soaring higher than they ever dared to. This is the nature of envy. It wears a mask, a disguise so convincing that only the wise can see through it. It will tell you that you are too ambitious, that your dreams are too big, that you should not aim so high because, after all, you must stay grounded. But the truth is, it is not your safety that it seeks to preserve. It is the safety of their own fragile ego, their own limitations. They want you to remain as small as they are, to shrink your potential to the size of their fears, so that they do not feel threatened by your ascent. To those who have not dared to risk, to dream, to break free from the chains of mediocrity, your rise is a challenge to their very existence. It reminds them of everything they have not done, of everything they have not become. And so, under the guise of care, they seek to pull you back, to diminish you, to make you doubt the greatness that lies within you. But do not be deceived. These masks are not made of love, nor genuine concern. They are woven from the threads of insecurity, of jealousy, of fear. They hide the ugliness of a soul that cannot bear to see another rise while it remains tethered to the earth. Learn to see the true face behind the mask. Learn to recognize envy for what it is, and cast it aside. The moment you begin to rise, you will find these masked figures all around you, those who, with their soft words and sweet smiles, will tell you to slow down, to be cautious, to conform. But do not listen. Keep moving forward. Keep striving for what is beyond, for what is greater than the narrow world they have confined themselves to. The greatest danger is not the envy itself, but your failure to recognize it, your failure to see through the mask. Learn to see the truth, and once you do, you will find that no mask can stop you. No words can bring you down. Because you will be free, free from the chains of others' limitations, free to chase your dreams with the clarity that comes from knowing the true face of the enemy. Prepare for loneliness. Many will not endure your growth. To grow is to venture into a territory where few have the courage to follow. It is to ascend from the comfort of the familiar into the vast unknown. And in that journey, you will find that the higher you climb, the fewer will be willing to accompany you. They will fall away, slowly at first, and then with a suddenness that will leave you breathless. Friends, family, even lovers, those who once walked beside you will begin to distance themselves. Not because they no longer care, but because they cannot bear to watch you change, cannot bear to witness your transformation into something they can no longer recognize. This is the price of growth. It is the price of moving beyond the ordinary, beyond the world of comfort, beyond the place where others choose to remain. And while your ascent will bring you closer to your true self, to your vision, to the greatness that is yours to claim, it will also set you apart. The truth is, many are not equipped to walk with you on that path. They are tethered to their own limits, to their own fears, to their own comfort zones. And as you break free from those chains, they will feel threatened, insecure, unable to follow. Do not mistake their retreat for rejection. It is not that they do not care, but that they cannot understand. Your growth reveals their own stagnation, their own inability to break free from the chains of mediocrity. And this is a mirror they cannot bear to look into. They would rather pull you back down, to keep you in the realm of the known, where they feel safe. But you will not be contained. And so, you will be left to walk alone. But do not fear this solitude, for in it lies your greatest opportunity. The loneliness that will come with your growth is not an affliction, but a gift. It is the space you need to become who you are meant to be, the silence in which your true voice can emerge, free from the noise of the world's expectations. Understand this. The journey you are on is not one that many will walk with you. It is a path that demands sacrifice, demands courage, demands the shedding of those who cannot keep up. But as you rise, as you step further into the person you are always meant to be, you will find that your loneliness will be filled with a deeper connection, to yourself, to your purpose, and to the world that awaits your greatness. Those who remain behind will only see the surface of your journey, the outward loneliness, the absence of those you once knew. But what they will never see is the power that comes from standing alone, from being unafraid to walk a path few will understand. In your solitude, you will find your strength. And in time, you will realize that it was never truly loneliness, it was freedom. You will either break their doubts, or they will break your dream. The choice is yours. There are moments in life when you must face a brutal truth. The world does not care for your dreams. It does not greet them with open arms or celebrate their arrival. Instead, it will meet them with suspicion, with doubt, with the cold gaze of those too afraid to pursue their own. It will whisper to you that your vision is impossible, that your ambitions are foolish, that you should settle for less. And in these moments, you are left with a single piercing choice. You can either break the doubts that others project onto you, or you can allow those doubts to break the very thing that is driving you forward, your dream. It is that simple. The path to greatness is not paved with the approval of others. It is forged in the fire of your own conviction. The doubts of others are not the truth. They are the reflection of their own fears, their own limitations, and they only gain power over you if you allow them to. Every dream will be met with resistance. Every vision will face those who cannot see what you see, those who cannot understand the fire that burns within you. They will tell you that it is impossible, that you are naive, that you are foolish to chase something so grand, so audacious, so daring. But remember this, their doubts are not your truth. They do not define what is possible for you. The question, then, is not whether you will encounter doubt. The question is whether you will stand firm in the face of it. Will you rise above their limitations and keep moving forward, or will you allow their fear to seep into your heart and extinguish the fire of your own ambition? To break their doubts is to confront them, to show them that your belief in your vision is unshakable. It is to prove, not with words, but with action, that the path you walk is yours and yours alone. It is to stand as a testament to the power of conviction, to the unrelenting force that drives you to pursue what others deem impossible. When you choose to break their doubts, you reclaim your power. You remind yourself that your dream is worth every ounce of struggle, every ounce of sacrifice. But the alternative is far more destructive. If you allow their doubts to break your dream, you allow your power to slip away. You allow the voices of those who have never dared to dream as you do to dictate your future. You choose to believe in their limitations over your potential, and in doing so, you'll become what they believe you to be: small, unworthy, incapable of achieving greatness. The choice is not easy. The path is filled with uncertainty, with resistance, with doubt at every turn. But what lies beyond that struggle is something only you can fully grasp: a future shaped by your own hand, a life lived on your own terms. Will you break their doubts, or will you allow them to break you? The decision is yours, and it will define everything that comes after. As you journey through life, remember this: your dreams are not for the faint-hearted. They are for the brave, the bold, and the relentless. Embrace the doubts, the struggles, and the loneliness, for they are the crucible in which your greatness will be forged. Choose to rise, even when the world tells you to fall. Break through the barriers, silence the critics, and never allow anyone to steal your vision. The path will not be easy, but the reward is worth every sacrifice. Stay true to your dream, and may it guide you to the heights you are always destined to reach.